I scheduled a play test for today, and the game has just been crashing on the server after running for a few seconds. Complete disaster. I have no idea why this is happening, and I don't know how to fix it in a timely manner. I managed to reproduce it locally, and, this is looking like an issue that might take a little bit. The way that, there's a little bit of context. The way that I was doing queries into the world of the game, like to see what is around an enemy, somewhere far down in the file, you would go, like, do circle query around the enemy, and then like 5 lines of setup bullshit code around this, just boilerplate. So it's just kind of very cumbersome and annoying to use. A few days ago, I refactored this to use queries. Oh, another thing I forgot to mention. So there's all this bullshit. You do the circle query, and then there's another function you have to make just for the specific situation you want to do. And mind you, this is like thousands of lines up above the file, very, very far up. And it's super specific on chip and scroll around orbs. Now we have these 2 pieces of code just in very random locations that are like tightly related to each other. And there was like 5 of these. So it just got very messy. And so I changed things to still do the circle query like this, but there's no boilerplate, so that's a lot nicer. And you put the code to process for each element that appears around the enemy right next to the query. Like you just go for each element that was in the query, then you do the processing. It's just much better for mental clarity. Stuff like this is important because it means that I can work on the project faster and quicker, and I'm not demoralized by typing out a bunch of shit that's just not very related to the design problem I'm trying to solve by introducing orbs. However, in the debugger right here, the current shape is just garbage memory. This is just random memory. All the values are random. It seems to be very scuffed and broken. So far in the history of this project, this actually has not happened. It's just something about how I'm doing this queue is broken, is the conjecture. This makes sense because it's code that I wrote. And I think the move is going to be, okay, there are 2 problems with this game. 2 very big problems. Instability and crashing, and there's design problems. These are kind of separate. Overall, instability and crashing is caused by poor programming practice on my part, like a badly written queue data structure, or like a lack of code and just in general structure around testing the game. Overall, just like a lack of discipline. The design problems, I think, are harder than the programming problems. But I can't get to the design problems unless the programming is stable. Now, the design problems of this game, no content. All of the fun moments right now are because of player-to-player interaction. It's because there's no content in the game. This is because authoring is hard. Just yesterday, I tried to add a new enemy, but the game is so big and spaced out far apart that you never saw the enemies, basically. Now, I think here's going to be my plan to tackle both of these problems at the same time and make the game at least 10 times better than it is now. So step number 1 is going to be more on the programming side. We're going to refactor everything using the better arena data structure that I did not write. So it's going to be robust. Ryan Fleury wrote that one. Number 2 is the biggest thing, right? So this is something that Philip told me to do. So once I have this really nice arena data structure, a lot of programming operations are just going to become a lot simpler to write and create. All inputs and network packets will be recorded for debugging purposes. So if there's ever an issue, I can replay everything that happened and figure out exactly why the thing happened. This is massive, massive, massive. And this is actually going to be pretty easy. Actually, before this, this is a pretty abstract sentence, but I'm refactoring everything to be more systematic and just careful with the flow of data in general. I stopped editing the text input in MS Paint, and so now they're both 2s, and these are both just number 2. Okay. A God mode level editing mode. This is next level. This is think creative mode in Minecraft, but on steroids. You'll see the entire map at once because it'll just run locally without a server. This is the same tool that would allow you to predict the movements of suns and make sure they don't destroy planets and stuff like that. Also lets you tune all gameplay values. This is like a world editing thing. Now, something I'm not sure about is if this should be a mode in the game. Well, I mean, it can't be. It can't be like a thing you toggle. It has to be like a different mode of operating in the game. It's like this is single player mode, right? Right, single player creative mode only, because I don't have the network bandwidth to send the entire game, because I already tried that. I have to limit it to a circle around the player. And this will make it much, much easier to author content in an iterative fashion. Okay. How long is this all going to take? Probably not actually that long. I could have all this done over the course of a week. And just this, massive, right? I mean, kind of in the middle here, we're going to do 2.5 automated testing. So it's just going to automatically make sure the game is working for me so I don't have to manually test that. And there's never this situation where it's just crashing all the time. You know, it'll test every feature with like 8 players at the same time to make sure the server works and everything is working. That's the idea. Test every feature of the game. It's called an integration test. And then, yeah, that's the plan. I'm going to postpone the Patreon release until these things are done, because if I'm shipping something commercial, I'm going to want this kind of up in quality and seriousness. So I got for you guys today. Don't forget to like and subscribe.